Vale. Bueno, lo que os comentaba, en esta presentación...
In this talk, we're going to go through the services that we provide in INCIBE, but we'll also inform you about other activities which are not widely known. That's what we call backstage. We'll see how cyber threat intelligence is adopted and implemented in INCIBE. This is about me. My name is Beatriz García. I'm the coordinator in cybersecurity technology in INCIBE. I'm an IT engineer, CISA and PNP. I've worked in cybersecurity for more than 11 years. Who are we? What's INCIBE? Shirazade has already explained it with the National Institute on Cybersecurity, which is the reference institution for the development of cybersecurity and digital trust of our citizens and companies, and more particularly in strategic industries. Where do we come from? In 2006, INTECO was created, the National Institute of Communication Technology, with different activity lines, and in 2012 this activity was focused in cybersecurity. In 2014 this institution became INCIBE to associate the name and the image in the activity we carry out. Our team, we're 108 employees. We expect to grow over the next 3 years. They're all highly qualified. 86% of these employees have a university degree, and we're quite young. Our average age is 37 years old. How do we work? We work based on our main activity lines. On the one hand, cybersecurity services, mainly focused in response to incidents and raising awareness. On the other hand, we have cybersecurity technologies. We have our own development capabilities. We operate intelligence model in the cyberspace based on management system, both for quality and security. And we have activities in order to support in national industry, and we promote and identify talent. What do we do? The services we provide, well, some of them are included in INCIBE CERT, which is the institution's center for responding to incidents for citizens and companies, with regards to incidents that affect critical operators in the private sector. And INCIBE CERT is jointly operated by INCIBE and CENEPEC, the National Center for Protection of Infrastructures and Cybersecurity. Besides responding to incidents at every stage, from prevention to notification, we carry out cyber exercises both at national and international level, and we exchange information with international agents, among others. In INCIBE CERT, we generate specialized content for cybersecurity professionals. In our website, you can see specific cybersecurity notices, our blog, interesting advice, studies, and a specific section with contents and resources available for the industrial sector, such as the Industrial Security National Scheme. For us, collaboration is a very important part of our activity. CERT collaborates with internet service providers. We have an anti-botnet service. We collaborate with strategic partners, and we also work with the Secretary of State for Security. We have an agreement to protect national infrastructures and fighting cybercrime. At international level, we take part in specialized forums such as FIRST. In 2017, we managed this number of security incidents with different target audience. As you can see here, based on the type of incident, in 2017, malware accounts for the biggest percentage. With regards to early alert, in 2017, we carried out more than 100,000 notifications through the anti-botnet service. We published almost 500 security notifications, warnings, and we solved more than 4,000 citizen queries through the phone and email. In INCIBE, we provide specialized training for law enforcement, SMEs, and independent workers, and specific contents for security of industrial control system and mobile devices. From the point of view of raising awareness, we have 3 specific channels for our different target audience: companies, citizens, and minors. And through Protect Your Company, but this is for companies and more particularly SMEs, we provide them with some resources in order to improve the cybersecurity. With regards to citizens, we have this office and this initiative in the Safe Internet for Kids. We promote services in order to increase the use of safe technologies by minors. These channels have unified their hotline through this number that you can see on the screen. In INCIBE, we have developed initiatives to develop talent and high capabilities through conferences, Cybercamp itself, and we choose the members of the Spanish team for the European Cybersecurity Challenge, which is a competition for young talents in cybersecurity. If I'm not mistaken, on Sunday we will have a talk, and some of the members of this team will speak about their experience in the last competition, which took place in London. In INCIBE, we promote a national ecosystem of R&D in cybersecurity. We have a network of centers, we have subsidies for excellence, and we have National Conference for Research in Cybersecurity. In this program called Ciberemprende, INCIBE supports entrepreneurship. We have a competition for ideas and entrepreneurship projects. In the same way, INCIBE promotes the competitivity of our national industry. We have different initiatives, Cybersecurity Venture, for example. We have a technological pool, and we have local support to the incubator network. With regards to events, in INCIBE we organized 2 main events: Cybercamp, you all know about it, and INCIBE, the international meeting for information security. It's platform in order to promote entrepreneurship. It took place in October. It was the 12th edition. More than 2,000 participants. With regards to communication, I would like to say that it's a very important work we carry out in INCIBE. we've carried out continuously in order to promote our services and activities. This activity received 5 awards in 2017. And this was it. I'm sure you're familiar with the activities we carried out in INCIBE. But this time, as I've explained, we'd like to explain other things we do in INCIBE. We need to highlight the activities that are necessary for the organization itself, departments of system, legal department, human resources, and others. But this time, I would like to focus on the work carried out related to cybersecurity technologies. We have our own development capabilities for these technologies, and our main goal is supporting services provided by INCIBE. We have technological support for law enforcement in fighting cyber terrorism, and we maintain the technology, support technology in INCIBE. We implement the intelligence model in cybersecurity, and we carry out specific security tasks for industrial labs. Its goal is working jointly with organizations that can do research and experiments. This takes place based on the quality systems that we have in INCIBE. We have systems in order to manage information and other systems. As I've mentioned, these activities, which are not so widely known, we would like to explain how we implement the so-called Cybersecurity Threat Intelligence. What is it? Based on our experience, there's no consensus about its definition. The different interpretations depending on the perspective of each entity. For example, manufacturers that provide services under this name, if you study them, you will see that they have different characteristics that are complementary. We have 3 examples on how an American institution defines this term. It's intelligence about cyber threats gathered and assessed and analyzed, and as a result, it reduces uncertainty and it supports the consumer to identify threats and opportunities. The Security Centre of the UK defines this as the information that helps in decision making in order to prevent an attack or reduce the time period in which an attack is discovered. CENISA defines as the process and product that results of interpreting data. It has to do with recognizing attackers, among other things. These definitions are similar somehow, but they have supplementary elements. We in INCIBE, we have adopted our own model in order to provide an answer to our own needs, and we focus on providing services. In this sense, we define knowledge based on evidence, including the context, mechanism, indicators, implications, and recommended actions with regards to potential threats and assets that can be used to take informed decisions. In this sense, this model called mix, it's a circular process. All the phases feedback each other, and it's similar to the intelligence cycle with military intelligence. These models have phases related to the identification side of things. You identify your goal, you collect information, you assess, you identify it, and then you disseminate the information. In our case, our model is based on the provision of services. We answer questions that have to do with our mission as a national entity. Detection has to do with obtaining, and analysis is similar to the American model of intelligence. Intelligence could be production, and services corresponds to dissemination. We apply this in services. The architecture of this model is scalable, I need to point out that there are necessary components. For example, the stakeholders, our target audience, citizens, companies, law enforcement, and some communities. We take partners into account, universities and public institutions. And a basic component, analysts.
So human profiles, what is known in the intelligence world as human intelligence. That defines the intelligence cycle. And which defines the intelligence model of INCIBE. So regarding detection phase, it is the main phase for data gathering. So here we have our own sources or third-party sources. So own sources, in terms of own sources, we have developed our own technology for data gathering. So regarding third-party sources, so here we have three types of information. OSINT information, or information from open sources, as well as that we have agreements and cooperations with the private sector or international organization, as well as commercial sources. So when it comes to data gathering, this data gathering has to follow a number of requirements. So the main criteria is about seeing whether we can apply it to our model, and second, whether these data are complete, precise, accurate, consistent, and relevant. If the delay from detection up until reception in our model, that is to say, whether timeless fits in with our services. All this is monitored by the quality assurance system that through alerts and alarms checks the feeding of this information on an ongoing basis. So in analysis phase, this is the phase where data become information. That transformation of data into information requires a number of processes. First of all, enrichment process that would allow us to contextualize the data gathered. So therefore, we have to look, well, we want data to have higher value and lower volatility. Triage allows us to prioritize data. So during analysis, we carry out a number of validations and checks that allow us to rule out false positives. So in aggregation process, we want to aggregate the application of information, and if we get data from same event or the same fact, we want to see what is the level of relatedness between the different sources used. The cleaning system allows us to eliminate noise or those low-value data. For instance, a dynamic IP, if we do not have a time stamp about the event detection, so the data is no longer valuable or is of low value. And then the data, if there is no timestamp associated to it, is also highly volatile. Now talking about big data, so what it is? Well, we are interested in not that much in big data, but in quality data. Now, intelligence phase. It is the phase where we carry out correlation processes and we implement different operational flows to respond to the use cases applicable to our services. These are primarily based in rules and algorithms that allow us to respond to those needs for provision of our services. So here we also generate indicators in three main levels: operational indicators, indicators of compromise, allowing us to respond to incidents, then tactical indicators, where indicators inform decision-making process internally, and as well to manage resources for integration of new systems. And then in terms of strategic indicators, here we can identify new services or evaluate ongoing services as well as policies. The last phase of this model will be dissemination, and our process finishes up in service delivery through different use cases, as we can see here. Our main use case is proactive detection of incidents to respond actively through INCIBE CERT or through the anti-bot system. So this process should be as near to real time as possible, which is also very important for this use case. And this intelligence model is also aimed at having a knowledge base to be used by INCIBE and also in our collaboration with law enforcement agencies. We are identifying new needs to fine-tune our services, and we analyze new needs through new trends, and as I say, to make our services more efficient. Another use case in our model would be the capability to exchange information through different types of collaborations as well as having a framework for cybersecurity, and as well as case use for early alerts or early warning. Now I'd like to share with you a practical case for you to see how our model responds to one of those early alert cases that I just referred to. I don't know whether you are aware of typo squatting. Well, this is an English term. So this comes from typo, which is to say like a typing mistake or typing error. And then squatting, which is the illegal settlement in property. So by taking advantage of typing errors, domains that are similar to the legit domain are registered. So these type of techniques are primarily used for spoofing, and they also use, well, vectors of attack used are the actual spamming, and to launch incidents such as phishing for data theft. This is just when I'm showing the screen is an example. But if you have a legit domain, for instance, the bank, the name, the branch, then we have different variations of the name here. In INCIBE, and through our cooperation with Red.es, which are in charge of registering internet domains in this country, on a daily basis, the new registries carried out at TLD.es are checked through near algorithms. So whenever we detect that there is potential for impersonation, an alert is triggered. Then we identify whether this is an actual type squatting event, and if this is the case, we let our colleagues at INCIBE HERT to be aware of it and to respond to it. If that is the case, we report it to the entity that has been affected. Then in parallel to that, the domain is cancelled. This is just one of the examples of the use cases that we implement in our intelligence model. And last, and also related to all this, I'd like to give you this reference. It's a reference to the challenges that we are proposing at INCIBE through the public procurement about innovation. We have disseminated that from our regional government, so you may be interested in taking part of it. So now we are at a preliminary phase of the public procurement of innovation. So these challenges are aimed at finding innovation solutions to solve, for instance, detection of bots and command and control, also detection of onion domains that are not indexed by public entities, detection, categorization, and automatic prediction of cyber attacks. Also allowing us to generate a high level of knowledge in terms of detecting and containing real attacks. I would invite you to visit these websites and for you to see whether you could contribute that innovation that we are asking for and looking for. So these are our contact details, and I'd like to thank you for being here and for your attention.